Hey guys, it's Sam with the Blind Spot. This is part two of the interview with Derek Daniel. If you want to check out part one, there will be a link in the description down below, or you can click the on-screen link at the end of this video. So without further ado, here is part two of my interview with Derek Daniel. Well, so while you were in school, what kind of assistive technologies did you use, and then what do you use now, and how is it different?
Well, it's interesting because I lost my sight in 2001,
Hmm.
which doesn't seem necessarily that long ago with technology, but technology changes so rapidly now. From probably '01 to 2010, it took a big leap, and
Oh
then
yeah,
from 10 to even now, it took an even bigger leap, that sort of thing.
yeah.
So I can remember my first dorm room, I had like this big, huge monitor, this big, huge computer, this big scanner, this big printer, like this whole desk table, like 6 foot long table thing full of assistive technology. I also had a big TV with a Geordie. I think you had a Geordie.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and it's this thing you put over, and I used it as a CCTV. And so what I found was it was just massive. All this stuff, like um, I had like the yellow tape player,
Hmm.
where you'd have like two-sided tapes, and you'd get the book on tape from school, and they had like 15 of them.
Yeah.
So all that stuff, that's the kind of stuff I would use. I didn't use a lot of magnifiers, like in class or anything like that. If I did anything like that, it was always like in my dorm room. And if you fast forward to today, if you look around my house, you probably won't realize there's a blind person living here.
Hmm.
I have a CCTV that actually sitting under my desk because it's not working right now. But other than that, I use everything that normal, quote unquote, normal people would use. I have a Mac. I use Apple products. Yes, I guess I'm a fanboy, but I use all Apple products. I'm talking on an iPad. I have a Mac and an iPhone and that sort of thing. And all that assistive technology with that comes into play. It's built right in. So I have maybe a magnifier I use, but other than that, most of my stuff is digital. And everything now, all the tape players are gone because things like Audible is right on my iPad or my
Yeah,
phone.
yeah,
Things like the big huge computers, or the big huge bulky monitors. I do have a big monitor, but it just looks like a big monitor anybody would have. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Hmm.
So the shift from way back then to today is quite large.
Yeah, it's incredible. I'm currently working with a 16-year-old gentleman and setting him up with assistive technology, and it's incredible because I went to school in the 90s, and I had large print books, and I've mentioned this on videos before that a normal standard English book or science book, I would have it would be broken into four volumes for
Hmm.
large print, and then though each volume was about twice the size of the actual book, and then it had pages that were twice as long and they folded up. So
Mm.
one textbook page was twice as big, blown up, and I had to carry those back and forth. Yeah, it was insane, and that's probably why my back is terrible now. And then you go to your locker and you're like, oh, do I need volume three or volume four? I can't remember where we are today.
Right.
But and then I had a recorder for recording notes and things like that. I had a giant old Aladdin CCTV at home. But nowadays, that kid that I'm working with, we hooked him up with a portable Topaz CCTV that folds down,
Hmm.
battery powered. And then everything else he probably needs is either on his iPhone or his iPad, and
Absolutely.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's you can get by with just those two things. I mean, literally, you could get by with just the iPad.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I remember back in college, like I had um, a laptop that I would take. I had this big magnifier that I would try to set up, and eventually what I found was I just stopped using that because I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm having this big bag to take around with me and stuff like that, and so I would try to just then um, take some sort of recorder and record the lecture, and then go back and take notes later
Hmm.
because I was like, I don't care what the professor looks like. And if you write something on the board, I would always go to him and say, like, hey, can you give me the information you wrote on the board? Or is it vital? Like, can I just get it from your lecture or whatever? Because I was like, this is crazy. All using all this stuff is nuts. So yeah, now it's all all the textbooks could be on your iPad, all the notes, all that stuff, smack dab on the iPad.
Yeah, yeah, it's insane technology, and it's only getting better.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Visually impaired person of interest tag video. And I tagged him. I didn't know him at the time when I made my video, or I would have tagged him then. But I thought it would be interesting to hear what his answers were. And you said one of the best things about being blind was the perks, right? I want you to tell us more about that, Daniel.
Yes, yes, I
Or
did.
Derek.
You know, it's bad because I was like, it's true. Like, it sounds selfish, but in that video, like I shared that I got bumped up to first class one time because what happened was this was pretty soon. I can't remember the timing. It was within a year after I lost my sight, and I had my guide dog, and they always with the guide dog they try to put you in what they call bulkhead seating, which is right towards the front, and there's more leg room
Yeah, yeah.
and for your dog and that sort of thing. Well, the plane had booked me all the way in the back because there wasn't like set seating back then, so they had put me all the way in the back. And so I got up to the counter, and the lady was like, "Oh, we can't put you in the back. There's, that's not going to work." They're like, "Would you mind if we moved you somewhere else on the plane?" I'm like, "No, whatever. It's fine."
Yeah.
And so I sat down, and I could overhear them talking, and they would say like, they said something about rows 1 through 5 being first class, and they were talking about seating people. So the lady come over, and she's like, "Okay, sir, we're going to put you in seat 3A. Will that be okay?" And I was like, "Is that first class?" And she's like, "Yes, sir. Is that okay?" I said, "Well, that's fine. I'm not going to pay for first class." She's like, "No, no, no. This was our mistake. We're just going to move. It's no problem." I was like, "Yeah." So I got
Yeah.
to eat, fancy pizza and drink orange juice from a wine glass because I was only like 19 at the time. So with big leather seats and everything. So yeah, there's things like that. I mean, I hate to say that I like being blind because I get stuff, but if I'm going to be blind, I might as well get stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it is nice. Yeah, I mean, of course, I've mentioned this in videos before too, because I talked about being able to skip security in airports, and I've even ridden on the little golf cart through the airport, and I'm like, yeah, take me all
Yep.
the way there. That's
Yeah,
great.
that's right.
But of course, you don't want to abuse this power that we have, but take
No,
it,
no.
take advantage and enjoy it. You know?
Well, there have been numerous times where I have noticed we've been at restaurants and we'll sit down. I have my cane, or I had my dog at the time, and we would get seated well before other people who had clearly been there before we had. And I never knew if it was that reason or not, but it happened numerous times, more than once, at different places, and I was like, okay, I wasn't gonna argue, but yeah,
Yeah,
I never use it like you said. I never use it as like, "I'm blind, give me something." But
yeah,
if it happens, I'm like, "Sure, okay."
yeah, yeah. I don't. I mean, some people are like that, and it drives me crazy. Well, I was even at, and I mentioned this also. I was even at Disney World once, and back when they had the fast pass that you could get, I think they don't have that anymore. But
No, they do. They still have the fast
do they
passes.
still? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you could get it if you were visually impaired. You could get a fast pass and be able to jump all the lines and everything. And like we went to the Tower of Terror, and I felt a little guilty walking past this really super long line, and I'm just going right all the
Yeah.
way up to the front. But you know what?
Yeah.
We didn't have to wait in the line, so it was pretty good. But at the
Well,
same visit, I was gonna say, we also went to see the Hall of Presidents show, and
mhm.
I always, it goes back to you saying you got to be an advocate for yourself, and I always encourage
Mhm.
people, don't be afraid to ask. I went up to somebody that was standing there and I said, "Is there any way that I could get up close? I can't see very well. Do you guys have special seating up close for visually impaired?" And they put us in the very front row. I mean, and we didn't have to
Mhm.
wait. They walked us in the side entrance and took us up to the front.
Yeah.
And so there are benefits if you're willing to ask for them, and like I said, not take advantage of it.